The night was quiet. Too quiet. I had been driving for 12 hours straight. The endless highway stretched before me, black asphalt swallowing the light of my headlights. Just me, my 18-wheeler, and the road. I loved nights like that. Peaceful, empty, no traffic, no distractions. But sometimes, emptiness hides things. Things that make you question if you're still awake, or if the road is pulling you into some kind of nightmare. It started around 2 a.m. I was somewhere in the Midwest. Long stretches of farmland, flat plains, nothing but fields and silence. I remember seeing an overpass up ahead. That wasn't unusual. What was unusual was the man standing on it. He wasn't moving. He wasn't waving. He was just standing there, perfectly still, looking down at me. I squinted, took a sip of my coffee, told myself it was just some guy, maybe a hitchhiker, maybe a drunk who climbed up there. But as I got closer, I noticed something strange. He was dressed in all black, no reflective gear, no bag, no sign of travel, just a figure, waiting, staring at my truck. And as I passed under the bridge, I swear, I saw his head turn, following me, his eyes catching mine for just a second in the glow of the cabin light. I laughed it off, shook my head, told myself I was tired. But then, 10 minutes later, another overpass. And there he was again. Same stance, same clothes, same expressionless face. Just watching me. I felt my stomach tighten, hands gripping the wheel harder than before. This wasn't possible. That bridge had been miles back. No car, no bike, no way he could have gotten ahead of me. And yet, there he was. I turned up the radio, tried to drown the thought out, but my eyes kept darting to the road ahead, looking for the next bridge. And sure enough, maybe 15 minutes later, another overpass. And him, always him, still, silent, waiting. This time, I slowed the truck, looked carefully as I passed under. And when I looked up through the windshield, the overpass was empty, no one there. I felt my throat go dry, my chest tight. Something wasn't right. I told myself again, "You're tired, you're hallucinating. Pull over, get some rest." But I didn't. I kept driving, because something in me was scared to stop. Hours passed. I thought maybe it was over. No more bridges. No more shadowy figure. Then, around 4 a.m., a massive rest stop appeared, lit up like a beacon in the dark. Gas pumps, diners, rows of semis lined up like sleeping beasts. I pulled in, parked my rig, finally let myself breathe. I got out, stretched. The night air was cold, sharp, almost refreshing. I headed toward the diner, but as I did, I stopped, because on the far side of the parking lot, under a broken streetlight, he was there, the same man, still, watching me. I froze, every hair on my arm standing straight. It was impossible. But before I could react, another trucker came out of the diner. He walked right past the spot, didn't look at the man, didn't seem to see him at all. I blinked, and in that second, he was gone. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my cab, lights on, engine humming, and every time I looked in the mirrors, I thought I saw someone standing just out of sight. To this day, I don't know who he was, or what he wanted, but I know this. When you drive long enough, you see things out here, things that don't belong, and sometimes they see you too.
I had been hauling refrigerated goods from the East Coast to the Rockies, 3 days on the road, exhaustion setting in. By the time I hit Nebraska, I was dead tired. The highway was empty, sky overcast, air thick and heavy. I needed sleep. I saw the blue sign. Rest area, 1 mile. Perfect. I pulled in. The place was nearly deserted. A few cars, one other truck, the lamps buzzing faintly, casting pale circles of light. I parked, killed the engine. The silence was immediate, almost deafening after hours of humming wheels. I climbed into the sleeper, laid down, closed my eyes. But sleep didn't come. Something felt wrong. I couldn't explain it. The air in the cab felt heavier, like someone else was inside. I sat up, looked out the windshield. That's when I saw her. She was standing in the middle of the rest area. A woman, long dark hair, pale skin, a white dress that fluttered slightly in the breeze. But she wasn't moving. She wasn't walking to a car. She wasn't going to the restroom. She was just standing there, facing me. I rubbed my eyes, told myself I was dreaming. But when I looked again, she was closer. Not by much, just a few steps. But I hadn't seen her move. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. I knew I should start the engine. Leave. But I didn't. I just stared. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time didn't feel real anymore. And then, she was closer again. Half the distance now. Still not moving. Still not blinking. Just there. I grabbed the keys, fumbled with the ignition. The engine roared to life. Headlights illuminated the lot, and she was gone. The spot where she had stood. Empty. My chest heaved. Sweat dripped down my back. I put the truck in gear, pulled out fast. But just as I merged back onto the highway, I glanced at the passenger side mirror and nearly swerved off the road. She was there, in the reflection, sitting in the passenger seat, her head slowly turning toward me, eyes black as tar. I screamed, whipped my head to the side. Nothing. The seat was empty. But in the mirror, she was still there, closer. I drove through the night, didn't stop again until sunrise. And even then, when I looked into the chrome of the fuel tank, for a split second, I swear I saw her face, staring back at me. To this day, I avoid rest areas at night. I'd rather fall asleep at the wheel than see her again, because I know, if I ever let myself fall asleep while she's near, I'll never wake up.
It was late October, cold, wet. The kind of night where rain pounds so hard, it feels like it's trying to wash you off the face of the earth. I was hauling across a back highway in Oregon. No cities, no traffic, just endless trees bending under the storm. Visibility was terrible. Headlights cut through only 20 feet of swirling rain. The wipers struggled to keep up. That's when I saw him. A figure on the side of the road, thumb out, soaked to the bone. A hitchhiker. I never picked them up. It's one of those rules you learn as a trucker. But that night, something about him made me slow down. Maybe it was guilt. Leaving someone out in weather like that felt wrong. I pulled onto the shoulder. Window cracked. "You need a ride?" I shouted over the storm. He didn't answer, just opened the passenger door and climbed in. Water dripped from his coat, pooled on the rubber mat. He didn't thank me, didn't smile, didn't even look at me. Just sat there, head tilted down, hood covering most of his face. I cleared my throat. "Where are you headed?" Silence. For miles. Nothing. Just rain hammering the cab, wheels hissing against slick asphalt. Finally he spoke, voice low, barely audible. "Just keep driving." Something in the way he said it chilled me. Not a request, not gratitude, a command. I gripped the wheel tighter, nodded. Didn't say another word. Minutes stretched into hours. At least it felt that way. Every time I glanced at him, he seemed different, like he was sitting closer, even though he hadn't moved. And his coat, it wasn't wet anymore. Dry, perfectly dry, like the storm outside didn't touch him at all. Finally, I pulled into a small truck stop. Figured I'd drop him off. "You can get out here," I muttered. No response. I looked. The seat was empty. I slammed the brakes. Cab shook. My heart raced. I know I'd picked him up. I know he'd sat there. But the seatbelt wasn't buckled. The floor was dry, like no one had ever been there. I stumbled into the diner, white-knuckled, breathing hard. The waitress saw my face, asked if I was okay. I told her about the hitchhiker, how he vanished. Her smile faded. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You're not the first trucker to see him. I froze. She nodded. He shows up on nights like this, always soaked, always silent. They say he died on that highway years ago, caught in a storm just like this one. She leaned closer, and if you let him ride with you too long, you don't make it to the next stop. I didn't finish my coffee, didn't eat. I got back in the truck, cab empty, passenger seat waiting. But even now, whenever the rain starts pounding hard on the windshield, I glance at that seat, half expecting him to be there, waiting, silent.